Hey fam, I got a video called Magical Moments in the Mirror coming out soon. Well, it was supposed to be out 2 days ago, but right now it's stuck in YouTube limbo getting processed. Now, spoiler alert, I did talk about depression. Now, what is depression? Depression is known as a deep state of sadness. No, I'm not going with the deep state of conspiracy theory with the government, but I'm talking about a deep state in emotional darkness. Now, what caused depression? Well, many things cause depression. I want to give you some examples of what caused depressions, and I want to give you things to battle depression. Now, one of the things that does cause depression, and I have spoken about depression in prior videos, is social media. Sometimes we being a creature of habit, we like to click on stuff. Now, here's the problem with this clicking on stuff. We click on, and we get stuck in that deep rabbit hole of depression because some of the stuff in social media is depressing. And then we just get sucked in and consumed because some of that negativity do come back and reflect our mental state and mental health. Back during the pandemic, no one really had emphasized the mental health or mental illness, or depression was there, but it wasn't talked about because when we came to this pandemic, we didn't know how to handle it because it was never addressed. So many people's lives were lost because of this invisible virus. And when we got out of the pandemic, people thought it's business as usual. But how could it be business as usual when a person lost a loved one? Now, yes, point number one, a loss of a loved one, that does cause the deep state of depression. Now, it's not business as usual when you lose a loved one because there's always reminders of that loved one. Birthdays, anniversary, songs. And you could be fine one day and then all of a sudden when that song comes on, that aroma, it just brings you a reminder that person's not there anymore. Now, what can you do when you get into this state of depression of a loss of a loved one? A couple things you can do. Remember, that person is not totally gone. In the physical realm of a here and now in the world, in the physical state, yes, they're gone. But remember, you got memories. And those memories will last a lifetime. And also, too, when you have those memories, just think about it, go back, write it down, and then when you feel like in that deep mode of depression, go back, look into that memory or that picture, and just remember how they want to be remembered. Not in a box or an urn, but how they were when they were living and with you. And sometimes loss of a loved one with depression can cause traumatic state of depression. Traumatic state of depression is defined as, you lost a loved one, and it can be traumatizing to one's health. Now, with that being said, you have to not only cope, but it's a process. Life is a process. So you can't be up and over it. No, it takes years. And even then, it's not harder, but it gets easier as time goes on. But the first couple of years, it is rough on you because birthdays, holidays, and like I said, songs, and you be like in a deep state. Now, another thing that causes depression, like I said, social media, we get entangled. We watch all this negative stuff, like YouTubers beefing. Sometimes we get sucked into the news, and sometimes we get sucked into discord that our own being is being effective. So what can you do in the social media aspect of depression? Good question. Simple. I'm going to present a challenge for you. The challenge is, if you have time during the day, just shut it off. Just shut the phone off, go somewhere, a walk. No technology, just you, your dog, or another person. Sometimes physical, okay, I lied. A lot of the times, physical companionship would take a person out of a depot of depression because that person, you can see the person face to face, not in a post or a feed. You actually interact. Interaction with interpersonal relationships, when you're interacting with a person, could take a person out of that deep state of depression. Now, what else could cause depression? Depression could also be caused by, and it's called clinical depression. Clinical depression is defined as the chemical imbalance of the brain. It can lead to social behaviors. Now let's talk about my favorite, bipolarism. And so a person can be in a good mood in 1 minute and they could change moods. They're not always depressed, but is there something in that brain that's like the cylinders misfiring? And like a car. Your car could be driving, but a piston can misfire and your car can't run smoothly. Same thing with our emotional state. Something can misfire and it could take stuff out of whack. What else could cause depression? In my video, which is stuck in limbo, thanks YouTube for nothing, it's called a hostile working environment. And in that video, I talked about I worked in the hostile environment of Walmart. And like I said, when you work in a hostile environment, it could take your mental state down. I mean, when I was working at Walmart, in the video, and that's going to be released, I talked about how management take pride with narcissistic behavior of making associates cry, chain smoke, and other crazy things. And I also mentioned a certain manager that who targeted me just to be ornery. So how can you battle that state of depression? Well, one way you can battle that state of depression is, like in the movie Happy Gilmore, find a happy place in your mind. Like, let's say you like to travel to Brazil. My brother V from V at the Slap, or Von Down at the Slap, loves Brazil. Anything that's South America. He always say, I want to travel to get out this matrix. That's his V for you. But find yourself, let's say, back to the matter of the subject, like you want to go to a happy place. Create a happy mind of Brazil in your mind. So when you're working in the aisle and the manager comes to mess with you, zone out into that happy zone. It's a defense mechanism, so that way they won't get to you. And another thing too, if you give them that master of the universe control over your emotions, where they keep picking on you, and you keep reacting to, yeah, it's going to depress you. But at the same time, you're going to one day snap and you're going to act a fool. So, like I said, don't give them control. So when that happens, find a safe haven, a place to go to where you can take a deep breath. Or if you got a friend, talk to that invisible and say, hey, what I'm going to do with this person who keep messing with me. Sometimes when you talk it out, okay, it's not sometimes. When you talk it out, you can release that anxiety. Now, the question being, is anxiety tied with depression? The answer is yes. I will get to the symptoms of depression later on in the video. And being anxious, you bottle up and you just want to, you just can't, you have so much energy, it's just kind of hard to control it. And what else causes depression? A financial loss. Okay, you lost your job. Yeah, that could bum a person out. And bills are piling up and it's overwhelming. Sometimes when we get overwhelmed, it can put us in a state of depression. Now, how can we combat that? Well, for one thing, I'm not saying it's easy. Like I said in the video, if someone's messing with you and it somehow leads you to the point of a financial loss, find something else that you like to enjoy. Sometimes when we stay in a job, we sacrifice our own happiness and well-being for a paycheck. And that's bad because you just go to work for what? Just a paycheck, but you're miserable. And that could lead to depression. So when you don't get to that state, find another job, go to Indeed.com, Recruit.com, any of these sites to find a better job. That would get you out of the state of depression because you're trying to get out of a toxic environment. Now, back to financial loss. Now, when you talk about financial loss and losing a job, it can happen to anybody. It happened to me, and it sucks. But make a plan, write it down. Like Lewis House said, shout out to you, Lewis House. If you're gonna have a plan of action, please write it down. Because being humans and creature of habit, we talk the good talk, but here's the problem: putting that talk into action. But if you write it down, you look at it and say, okay, I'm gonna do this today. Oh, I'm gonna do that. So when you write it down and accomplishing, when you write it down and you put it into action, that would get you out of that depressed funk. So basically, when you accomplish something, you feel good about yourself. Say, hey, I achieved that today. I feel good about myself. And add more stuff onto a list of goals that you want to do. Now, here's the thing about the list, though. Just write a couple of things, little small things. The small things will lead up to greater things. Now, when you do the list, break it down to maybe 1 or 2 things a day. A couple big goals, maybe 1, 2, 3 big goals, so that way you don't overwhelm yourself, because overwhelming yourself with too many things can lead to depression. Now, I'm going to go back to the symptoms of depression. Like I was talking about anxiety. Anxiety, like I said, you have this thing, you're anxious, and you're looking around and you don't know how to handle it. You just you kind of got the jitters, you can't stay still. And you feel like you have these what they call panic attacks where you can't breathe. Yes, that could lead to depression. Another thing that symptoms of depression is sleep. You be up tossing and turning. You don't get a good night's sleep, which causes insomnia. Because what it is when you're depressed, you're depressed, meaning your composition, you're smashing it in, meaning you have too many emotional things going on. And when that happens, whatever it is in your subconscious mind that you depressed, when you go to sleep at night, and this has happened to me, when I was in a depressed state and I had trouble sleeping because of it, my subconscious mind became my conscious mind, and I've been up throughout the night because I didn't handle it right then and there. So how can you combat the issue of sleep pattern? Well, here's the thing. You confront it then and there. I know sometimes you don't want to confront it, but you have to confront it because there goes your sleep pattern. It will change. Sometimes you get lack of sleep, but also too depression. You could sleep. You could sleep too much, and when you sleep too much, you just miss the whole day, which is known as bed ridden, meaning you tie down the bed, you don't want to get up. Now, another thing what I learned about depression, that a person don't want to do stuff. Now, what can you do to combat depression? Find a hobby, something that you love doing. Go over to my brother V for at the slab, Von at the slab. He got some tips that will change that depressed mood you're in. Music is a key. Now, there was times when I was depressed or saddened. I bust out my musical playlist on my iPhone and just plug in and listen to some Tupac, some Biggie, Bruno Mars, just to name a few. And sometimes it just get me back into the natural mental state. Another thing that get a person out of depression, and this you might think this is fun, dance. And this will be in the upcoming YouTube short, in a short near you. Dancing takes a person out because it's upbeat. Anything that's upbeat, uplifting, keep the body going, it would take you out of that deep state of depression because you're actually moving. Sometimes, like Sean Cannell says, shout out to Sean Cannell of Think Big Media from YouTube. He said 90% of people who create content or do videos are happy. Go out, take your phone, make a video or a short. That would take you out, get you out of that funk. Another thing you could do, when I said about dance, watch some dance videos, learn how to do those steps. Sometimes when you keep your mind occupied with positive feedback, you won't be depressed. Yeah, keep your mind going with positive feedback. That's another thing that gets from depression. Now, with that being said, now with depression, a lot of things tie in with depression, bipolarism, anxiety. I mean, it's not just one thing. It's a collaboration of things. And I don't want you to be bogged down with depression. I'm just giving you tips how to deal with depression and how to handle it when it hits you. Now, when you get to my video, Magical Moments in the Mirror, it's about me and how I went through life in and out of depression and how I dealt with it. And I want you to watch the video and take some notes. You might learn something. So next time when you get depressed, like in the movie Happy Gilmore, think of a happy place. And remember, it's okay to be depressed, but what is not okay is when you don't address it. This is KG for KG Television. God bless. Check out the contact. Hit like and subscribe. Catch you next time with a new video.